Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Adobe Live here on Behance. As you know, I'm Maddy, and I'm joined by one of my best buds today, Tony Harmer. How are you doing, Tony?
Hello. Yes, I'm doing very well, Mads. Very well indeed.
It's so good. This is our first stream together of 2022. And
we should mark this with some sort of victory dance. Actually, I'm going to stand up. I've just realised that I'm framed terribly in the camera. There we go.
That is the best victory dance I think I've seen in a while. And do you know what, everybody? Tony and Tim, right? I mean, as you already know this because they've done a million streams together. They're the best when they're together. And in the green room today, it has been a very musical green room. And we have had ukuleles. We've been trying to tune our ukuleles. So it's all been going on. But I think we almost need to do a stream of tuning and some kind of other music. And maybe an audition, a stream for sure. But we are joined by so many people already today, Tony. The crew has assembled. So I want to say a quick hello to everybody. So Andreas, Gareth, I can see you in there, Oliver, Michelle, and Sandrine, of course. Really good to see you all. And today we're covering Character Animator. And I absolutely love this. I've used it so many times for enablement, for having fun with the kids, like so many things. So what are you going to be covering today, Tony?
So we're going to get people up and running with creating a character, general use of Character Animator, because a couple of things have changed recently. So we're going to cover some of those. One of the things that I think I gave a tiny bit of a sneak to at Max, which was in the pre-release at the time. So the pre-release build, but is now in the mainline build, the main shipping product. So we're going to do that, and we're going to have a look at using a couple of other tools in conjunction with Character Animator. So we're going to use Premiere with Character Animator as well, and we're going to use Photoshop with Character Animator. And it's a good idea, actually, for me to launch Premiere at some point. In fact, I'll do that a bit later on when I actually need it. But yes, so we're going to do those things.
Yeah, because the way that they've updated characters has really changed over the years. I remember I first discussed this with you back in 2017, something like that. And I think back then I was drawing faces and I was having to draw every vowel shape for a mouth so that it could capture the animation properly. Whereas now it's so intuitive with our cameras and webcams that actually it does a lot of that work for you, which is great. So I mean,
there's some mad stuff in there now. There's a whole new there's a new character format or a character template format, which while it isn't exactly public yet, at some point it will be. So there are people who are working with Adobe to create these new character templates, and you're going to see those very shortly. Actually, Matt, so you'll love it because you joined just when I was being Batman.
Yes, and are we going to see him today? I was going to ask you. Oh,
unfortunately, no, because I had to seek permission from Warner Brothers and from Funko, and neither of them got back to me with an affirmative, and so I couldn't do that today, which is sad.
Well, honestly, we should tell everyone we were in a like an all hands meeting where everybody had assembled, and they were talking about performance and all of the things that you normally do. And Tony had created this character, this Batman character, and actually voiced him in. So you were at the back of the room, or you were somewhere close by.
I was at the front, next to Garrett.
Garrett. Front. Sorry, you were at the, see at the front. And so this character was, it came on screen, and suddenly it started, animating, and you had this, do your Batman voice, Tony. It was really
I can do my Batman voice whenever I need.
It was so good. And obviously it was really it was really nice because in a work setting, when you are having, very serious meetings all of the time, and then suddenly see a character on screen that's voiced and it's moving with, with you in a meeting that's normally quite serious, it was really good. So
it was a good laugh. I can actually, via my phone, it was on my Instagram the other day, and the only reason it was actually on my Instagram was because I had to make it available somewhere for Warner Brothers and for Funko to actually look at it, because I can't send links to their email. So all I can do is say it's on my Instagram just here. So this is, it's going to be difficult because of all the reflection that we've got here. There we go. That's about as good as it's going to get, I think.
It's so cool. And it really is. And we've used this for so many things. I mean, we once made characters of all of our senior leaders that were doing presentations and role plays and that kind of thing at our sales kickoff in Vegas. And that was hilarious, because one thing that we could do with characters back then was set a trigger, so that that trigger, I think it was the A key on the keyboard, was set to a trigger, which meant that we could show a little bit of their personality. So one of the characters would have like a ding on their teeth, like a diamond shine, with a smile, or like a wink, or like a pout. And so I managed to get a trigger for every single character, so that on demand, I could press the trigger key and it would do their little personality trait. So
they're still there.
I love this. I absolutely love this. So how would you tell anybody to get into this?
Well, that's my aim really today, because I mean, when you on the surface of it, when you look at it, and if you actually open a puppet for the first time, it could look daunting, because there's all of these things. There's this weird layer structure business, but it's not weird. It's perfectly sensible, actually. But you look at that and you might think, oh, no, I'm not sure about that. Or, but it's designed to be fairly easy to use. It's a whole thing now, this sort of performance capture animation, which is the category that Character Animator falls into. But I'm going to show you how easy it is to work with. In fact, when you after you've watched this, if you go and launch Character Animator on your own machine, there's a thing here, this start first tutorial actually walks you through the whole process of calibrating your camera, and it does it in a fun way. It does it as if it's an audition for an actual show. In fact, do you know what? I mean, it takes like 5 minutes. Shall we go through it?
Yeah, go on.
We can do. All right, let's do that.
Let's do it.
So it actually starts up a Character Animator project, like so. Okay, now this just needs to access a couple of things that I need to give it permission for. I'm working on one of my other machines today, so I don't normally do Character Animator on this one. And I've just suddenly thought that my audio won't be coming through. So what I'm going to do, Tim, if you just take us back to the 2 up a minute, I'll stop my screen share and restart it, if that's okay with you, with the audio. So just bear with me.
And whilst you're getting that ready, Tony, one of the things that we did a project for education where we worked with the Royal Shakespeare Company, and we made characters of all of the, really famous people like Einstein and Shakespeare and people like that, so that they could be used in classrooms to bring books to life and things like that. So there's so many resources that you can find on these characters actually online. Here we are. Good. I can see you're in. Fabulous.
I'm in. And I should be there, and we should hear audio now. So we'll just run that by with Tim. So this is how this starts out. You hearing that okay?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect.
Red leather, yellow leather. Me. Me.
You want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
Very good.
Next. Hello, I'm Betty, and you are...
Red Monster.
I see here you study dance at the Royal Academy of Sick Moves.
Indeed. I also do all my own choreography.
Let's see it then.
Salsa. Neoclassical ballet.
It's epic.
Pop and lock. Contemporary interpretive.
Okay, that was consistent, but I need more. Something different, with more feeling.
More feeling. You got it.
Help Red Monster dance with feeling. First, to calibrate your camera, you'll look him in the eye, relax your face, and click the Calibrate button. Then dance. Move your head, move your eyes, smile, and blink. Press spacebar to continue when you're done.
Okay, and you can see how...
Bravo! Now that's dancing. A truly legendary performance.
To be
So I'm just going to pause that a second. So that's the voice of Dave Werner there from the Adobe Character Animator team, who walks you through this whole thing. Okay, now at the moment the camera's tracking me. You can see that because the character on screen is also moving. And you might also notice in the preview from my camera here how certain of my facial features are highlighted, okay, showing me exactly where the tracking is taking place. So it's showing me that it's mapped correctly. And even though I've got a beard, it's mapped my mouth correctly and so on. So here goes, right.
or not to be? That is the question. Let me try that again. To be or not to be? That is the question. To be or not to be? Is that the question? To be!
Okay, yes, we've got that covered. How about another line?
What line?
Any line. Just say any other line.
Help Dr. Applesmith. Speak into your microphone and say something, anything, for him to lip sync. Press spacebar to continue when you're done.
Maddy is epic and I love her to bits. Super.
That was truly moving. Really inspired.
My pleasure.
If only I'd recorded it so I could play it back again and again.
Oh, I can do it again. To be or not?
No, that's quite all right. We'll get it next time.
And so it's telling you that, you know, this is how you can record and play back on the transport
destroy
controls
you
here.
for what you did to me and for what you did to my identical twin brother Stefan. I thought you loved me, but you're not the person I thought you were before you had amnesia.
That was not moving.
Well, it's kind of out of context. You see, the villain Susan...
No, I mean literally. Not moving. You need to move more. Your arms, your face. Express yourself.
Got it.
Help Toll express himself. Use your keyboard to trigger his facial expressions. Use your mouse or touchscreen to drag his hands. Press spacebar to continue when you're done.
Okay, so you can see here that we've got these areas that are showing us where there are draggables at the moment. Now, this is a special overlay here that you're seeing for this one. They don't normally appear like this, but this is what's called a first run, first mile out demo. So you can see I'm able to drag that, okay, and notice that it's keeping the relationship correct between the hand, the forearm, and the upper arm there, and the shoulder joint. And then I've also got some keys here that I can press. So got a little overlay grid there. So if I tap G on my machine, suddenly I've got a couple of extra things happening just here. I tap G again, I've gone back to the neutral expression. If I tap V, this is much more me.
And
See,
these
that's
are like
much
triggers, aren't they? These are like
these are
added
triggers.
extra
Yeah,
things.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And some of them have got a thing called a swap set. So if I go back to G, this has got a little swap set. So it's cycling through some layers in a file for you at the same time. Okay, so that one's doing that. And then we've got D. We're going to go through some of these things, by the way. So that's big watery eyes just there. Okay, and finally F on here. There you go. You can see that. So if I was combining that with moving my arms, I go, oh no, it's just too much. I can't stand it. Oh. Yeah, you can see how that works. And there you go. If I just tap the space bar, it'll take us into the last segment here.
What an emotional journey. I laughed. I cried. Spectacular. Wendigo?
The one and only.
So, you look...
So I'm just pausing that for a second. When Character Animator launched, there was a big thing about doing it on the surface because you could use, you know, touch controls there on a machine to work with it. And I did a couple of gigs for Microsoft, and they had me at Millbank Tower in London being the Wendigo for 4 hours. I couldn't speak for 2 days afterwards.
What a gig.
Even though
Wow.
I'm kind of trained not to use the wrong parts of my throat and voice to do that, there's a limit to how far you can go with 4 hours of continual performance on there, which is because I had it on a big screen inside. People couldn't see me. I was hidden away in a little control area behind that for most of the evening. And as
Wow.
people approached the screen, there were cameras positioned, so I could see them approaching the screen, and I could then engage with them and say, "Hi, how are you?" You know.
Oh my God.
Do
It's
these
mad
things.
though, because it's like one of the ways that you would use these characters. Because normally you would think that they wouldn't appear in your workflow in any way, or that they wouldn't, like you know, how would you use them? And I gave a couple of examples at the start about how we've used them at work in like a corporate setting. But obviously, yeah, you've been there at events with this. We've used them for education. How do you see some of our creatives using characters in their work?
If you well, I mean, there's a whole bunch of different ways you could do this, right? And things that you could use it for. I mean, you can make episodic TV. There are things that we see on TV that are made with character animators. Stephen Colbert in the US did some hilarious things involving character animator. Was in fact involved, that his show was involved quite a lot in the development of character animator because it made it so accessible. But if you wanted to produce instructional media or promotional media with a character instead of a live actor, you could do that if you want to do. So the thing I've got coming along is that I've got a bunch of TikToks coming along, right? And rather than it being me, there's another character that represents me, because I think my modeling days are over. Yeah, so you know, an animated me is much more fun. And of course, there are things that I can do with an animated me that I wouldn't do. You know, that I can't do I can't make my eyes go super big, or for hearts to start springing from my face, you know, and things like that.
And Tony, you'll remember this, because I'm sure that this was maybe before I started at Adobe, but didn't they film an entire episode of The Simpsons using Character Animator? I'm sure it's on YouTube.
They did, yeah.
So
it wasn't a full episode. It was a short episode, but it was Homer Simpson answering questions live. So people could phone in and ask questions, and he would answer live. So the big joke at the time, and in fact, I think it was mentioned in the show, was, you know, live animation sounds crazy because it's a tremendous strain on the animator's wrists, you know, continually drawing each frame as it would have been. But yeah, no, Homer Simpson did a live phone-in. And character animator was using that along with a controller, not entirely unlike a Stream Deck controller, if you've ever seen one of those. I was going to reach for one, but it's actually over at another station over there. But you can assign buttons to certain triggers and run them quickly. So that one point during that show, Bart Simpson drops his pants and moons. So, you know, it's it doesn't, you know, that sort of thing's frowned on in television, so it's got something that blanks out that section, but it's there. But it's on YouTube somewhere, isn't it? But yes, you can see that. But yeah, I'm seeing more and more things like this on TikTok and stuff. You're right, it definitely has advantages for that. Yes, it does. So let me go back to the home screen here. So I've closed that project, so you can see that walkthrough is very, very engaging. It gets you set up with the things that, you know, you might think, because to some people, the phrase calibrate your camera sounds like you've got to get in there with a screwdriver and kind of, you know, start doing things.
Yeah.
Some people are switched off by that phrase, you know, calibrate your camera. And it's as easy as letting the camera recognize your face, which it does pretty much flawlessly, automatically anyway. It's able to deal with things like eyewear. So I wear glasses later on in the day, typically sometimes early in the day, sometimes all day. I don't care. And other times contacts. But when I'm doing performance-based animation, I prefer wearing contacts. But I know I can do the same thing in my glasses, and provided there's no glare obscuring my eyes. Then it can deal with that. It can deal with the fact that I've got a beard, and, you know, so. It's good stuff. But I'll show you through a few things. So what I'm going to do is I'm not actually going to these are all sample characters here that you can start with. There's loads, including Finn the fish. Here was one of the early ones. Red Monster was the first puppet. It's the mascot for Character Animator. Still is the mascot for Character Animator. So that's the very first one, and when it was codenamed Project Animal while it was in development, and he was the animal just there. But yeah, Finn was a fish that that blows bubbles, and there's so many aspects to it. And then all of these other characters that have gone along in different things. And then there's this thing here, Characterizer, which I'm going to show you in a bit.
That'd be cool. I've not seen that before.
Have you not?
No.
I can't remember what the project name of it was now, because it was shown at a sneak in Max.
I love Max sneaks.
I'm always, whenever I show this, I've always got the wrong kind of background really for it. You'll see what I mean in just a little bit, but I'll go ahead and create a character with that. So, but what I'm going to do is go to this new thing here, the Puppet Maker first. So I'm going to click to make a puppet, and this is where you can build out your own puppet based on that template architecture that I mentioned to you earlier on. Okay, so this is what you get. You get a brand new floating window. Already it's working. You can see it's tracking me just there. No, I'm not saying anything just at the moment, but it's kind of, well, I am, but not to this. So you can see here my controls. So I've got 3 controls at the bottom: camera input, body tracking. So no more tight green suit, which is a real bonus for the people who work with me. Yeah, for body tracking. It's the thing that you know that now you can just work with body tracking straight away. So you can turn body tracking on, and then it will stop. But I'm not at the right angle for it, so it can't see my whole body. But you can see it's having a go at tracking with me. But you need like at least a half body shot to be working with that, and ideally a full body if you've got a full body character. This is a sort of a waist up character, so I'd need to be away from it a bit. So I'll turn that off just there, and microphone input just here. And whenever you see the ellipsis, it means you've got some options here for which camera and a calibrate button. So,
and Sean in the chat has said I can throw away my green suit now. Great.
You can throw away your green. Well, actually, I wouldn't throw it away just yet, but you just
yeah. Amazing, Sean. And for everybody else as well that's joined us, we're chatting in Behance today. So if you have any questions for Tony, pop them in the chat. I'll make sure that they get asked. And if you're watching on YouTube, come join us on Behance so you can get involved in the conversation. Cool.
That's right. Yes, absolutely. So, right, I've got the first character here. Now, if I go over the character, if I just scroll backwards and forwards, can you see all those variations?
Yeah.
So those are some of the variations that you can achieve with this particular template. And if I move to the next one, so this is Friday, just here. Then we've got the professional, just there. Then we've got Mo. Mo has got lots and lots and lots of different changeable parameters, and probably the one we'll use in just a moment. Okay, and then we've got Chibi just here. We've got the Mega Robot there. Okay, and Noodles and Proteus. And Blobby and Hunter. That one's very manga-esque, that one, right? Lots of stuff in there. And in fact, some of the characters there have got some advanced physics in, such as wind. And the Batman puppet that we were talking about earlier on when I was being Batman, that one, the cape was just gently blowing in the wind, and it just all adds to the performance.
It does,
right?
Yeah.
And that's a parameter that you can add in here. There are loads and loads of different behaviors that you can add, and wind is one of them. You can attach a wind parameter to an object and have it move in the wind. And then finally, this one here is clay. But let's go ahead and work with Mo just for a moment. So I'm going to select Mo. So we get this little caching artwork thing. And what it's doing is it's actually bringing in behind the scenes a full Photoshop template. Right, and there's loads and loads of options inside of that template. Now you'll notice that the puppet has changed on side, still tracking me. Hi, I'm groovy. And then we can work through and make it our own. So, for example, if I figure that this is more like my hair, yeah, I think that's more like my hair. Well, actually, who am I trying to kid? That's more like my hair. Or maybe this is more like my hair. Or this is definitely more like my hair. There you are. So you can just work through those. Okay, change the particular hair shape just there. Then you maybe want to change the hair color. So let's go to this one and make it sort of orange. There we go. All of these different colors. That's much more me, I think. It's great as well that it's not static, that it's kind of going with me.
It's good, it's animated already from the beginning.
Oh yeah.
Tony, I'm sure you'll come to this, but Michelle has a question
Yeah.
in the chat. Says, is there a way to upload characters that we've created into this and create a puppet from that?
Right, you can create puppets from your own artwork anyway, and we're going to be looking at that a bit later on. But from this particular template model, okay, not just at the moment. Yeah, there's just a few people invited to that particular one just at the moment. And I'm just starting to think, Mads, that you've frozen again, haven't you? Let it go, let it go. Maddy's froze. But anyway, Michelle, I can't see the chat for the moment. But anyway, that's the deal, right? Not just at the moment for the template-based things, but for your own artwork, absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to work through now. Let's go. You can change the skin color on this template just here, so you can have that however you want to be, just there. Ooh. And Tim say? Oh, we're good. Okay. And then we've got some eyewear here, so I could change my eyewear, and then you've got the eyewear color. So there's some patterns in here as well. Okay, like so. So I can change that. I think some nice, maybe some, trying to work out what I like. I think I like that sort of gold color just there. Then the eyebrows. Now the eyebrows, this is the shape because it will inherit the color from the hair color, which sort of makes sense, right? Doesn't it? But here we are. So I can change the eyebrow type. So mine's much more like that, I think. Just there. And then the eyelids. So I can even change the angle and shape of my eyelids. Lashes to die for. Just there. If I do a bit of a blink, I'll raise my eyelashes just there. And then the eye shape and whether they've got any gloss around them, like so. And then the type of nose. So you see, it's really, really simple to create the character you want to use from here. Okay, and then some ears. Ears are always handy to have, I think. And facial hair, of course. Facial hair, nice. I'm liking that beard. Yes, that's a bit Rylan, I think, for those of us that are in the UK. Just here, so there we are. I've got some stubble, a bit of a goatee, a bit of a Homer Simpson going on just there, or just a tash. There we go. Yes, very, very simple. Okay, so now I've got that beard. We can then work through some garments. So we've got shirts and dresses just here. So that's a bit of a sort of a tank top style thing, a t-shirt, various different versions of t-shirt just there. Nice dress, liking that. Yeah, so here we go. And here comes Mads. Is back. She's been frozen.
Oh my goodness, this Wi-Fi
doesn't want to stream
honestly,
anymore.
If I jump again, apologies, everybody.
Let it go. Anyway, I'm just trying out some dresses, Mad, right now.
Oh,
just
wonderful.
Yeah, I know. That's very bonnet.
Right time. What is it? Oh my goodness, it's green beard, pink dress, Hawaiian. Yeah. Very nice. I mean, this is cool.
Yeah, I'm liking it. I'm thinking I might go with a jacket actually, and let's
nice.
Get me.
And Tony, I dropped just as I was asking you a question from Michelle. Did you answer it?
Yes, I did. Yeah, it's all right. I addressed it, but I
nice.
haven't seen any more questions since. So if there are any, just let me know. I love the fact that this shows that we are truly live. Yeah,
we are.
And that we are subject to the whims of the internet in our area.
I know. We are. And do you know what? There's been a guy from the broadband company that's up the street. The box is right on the corner. And you know when you see them open the doors and you hear that music, that opera music that goes dun, 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 dun. And I'm watching thinking, no, like slow motion. So if I go, I'll come back. So
we're all good. Worry not. We're all good. So at the minute, I'm trying out. I noticed there that I changed one of those and the hairstyle changed. That's interesting. So these are the shirt designs, different things I could have on the shirt. Now, these aren't a fait accompli if you don't want them to be, right? You can change any of these things. I'm going to show you that in just a little bit. So I think I'll go with, I'm going to go with this ecstatic watermelon, I think.
That is a happy watermelon.
It is a happy watermelon.
Could you do a little dance for your character because it's Caroline's birthday today? And
happy birthday! Oh, wait until we're voiced up. Now, this character we'll sing happy birthday to Caroline.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Everyone's wishing you happy birthday. Happy birthday, Caroline.
Yes. See, I'm going with that. I think I'm going with all of the colours.
I mean, I'm loving this. I mean, as you know, I'm a big fan of all the colours. So
You are a big fan of all the colours. Now, I think I'm feeling some cowboy boots love coming in there. So let's do that. Oh yeah, I'd be straight off out if this was for real. And then we've got some choice here on backgrounds as well. Now, you don't have to have a background. I am going to choose one just here, but you don't have to, because you do have an option for transparency or a solid color. Now, I'll tell you something else, Mads, you could do with Character Animator that might surprise you. You can actually stream with it.
Ooh,
so I did actually for a little while consider saying to Tim, let's just stream me as one of the characters and do it. But then it's kind of tricky to swap out to other characters. Although I could have guessed invited myself from another machine and worked between the two.
And Tony, can I ask a question about that, right? Because if you're streaming, right, your setup at home is it might be different from other people's setups, because normally your character, you're going to be looking at your webcam to activate your character. But then when you're on streaming software, or where you're on a like Zoom call, for example, that's trying to use the same camera, and normally only one camera can be operated at a time for different things. So do you have one camera for Zoom and then another camera for your character? How have you got it set up with your home?
You can, but there are a few different ways to set it up. Basically, you need a piece of software like OBS or Wirecast to run this, so you can mix and match devices. You can create a virtual device. There's a thing called the NewTek NDI plugin, which you use, and plug that into Character Animator, then you can stream as your character. But that Dave Werner, who runs the Character Animator project, is super prolific with his help for the Character Animator community and new users. So you will find a video on his channel, which I'm going to give a shout out to. It's OK Samurai. He is a fantastic bloke. He's a brilliant actor. He's a very talented guy. He's really funny. And Character Animator is his baby, and he's made it what it is. So he wants everybody to be able to use it. So right, so obviously out on the town just here, and then I've got some things here, some triggers. Can you see that as I'm going through these? Right, I keep going to say my right hand. That's because technically it is my right hand, even though it's on the left to you, because you've worked on stage, so you know that the difference is from the audience point of view. So you know, you have that thing. So and I keep saying that, but you can see here they're targeted. I don't know if you can see the tooltip, but there is a tiny tooltip there that says left point and left thumbs up. You'll notice that they have keys underneath them. Okay, so they're assigned keys that you can use. So I could, for example, tap Q here. Q is for the left hand flat, like so. Okay, and let's go to E for the thumbs up. There we go. And immediately underneath that, I've got for the other hand. I'm just going to say the other hand just for a moment. You can see how I can switch, or should be able to switch between those things there. There we go. Okay, so if I just go to O, you can see how easy that is. All right, and I can still work with these. I'm just dragging now on the screen. This is where touch devices, so I am on a Wacom. I've got touch turned off just at the moment. But this is where touch devices like the Surface things on Windows come into their own, because they will accept multiple touches from different parts of the screen. With a mouse or a trackpad, you can, which is what I'm using here, you can still make everything work, but what you have to do is record segments, really. So you'd record a segment that involves the right arm movement and a segment that includes the left arm movement. But if you are using something with touch enabled, you can work on both things at the same time, which is a bit more dynamic.
Yeah, that's cool.
Those things said, if you're using body tracking, you've got a performance there already, right? So just by doing the thing, you can make it happen. Doesn't like that, by the way, gets confused.
Yes, anything in front.
Let's go cross it. It can do it, right?
Yes.
But you have to expect that sometimes it might misinterpret it just a little bit. Okay, and then we've got a couple of other things here. We've got some props, things that are props just here. So we've in this row here, the penultimate row we've got here. So if I tap J, I'm having a bright idea right now. You should be trying out Character Animator. Yeah, that's my bright idea for the day. And of course, I'm on a stream with Maddy.
Goodness. These things are so good. Like, I have no idea that we've added these things. Like, honestly, I want to get stuck in. I'm trying to think of all the things I can use it for now. Because this is so easy,
good.
Isn't it?
It is so good, honestly.
At the bottom as well. Look, the last
Sorry?
few. What are
the last two? They are right. So they are particular mouth shapes. So if I tap S here, because it's not reading me at the moment for some reason, I'll have a look into that in a second. It should be changing the mouth shape for me, but it might be. Let me just tap that in. No, for some reason that's not having an effect at the moment. But they are extra mouth shapes. So, you know, because not everything we do is talking with a happy smiley face. Sometimes your mouth does invert. And the when you were talking about the mouth shapes earlier, they're called Visines. The word for those is a visine. So they're a visual phoneme. Yeah. So visine is what they're brought down to. So it's a way of expressing the 14. I think it's 14 different mouth shapes we have.
It took me ages because I had to draw each one by one. Yeah. And then, because you do it in Photoshop, because it opened up separate layers. This is the old way before all of this happened.
It will still do that to an extent. But one of the we'll look at ways we can do that in a little bit, because that's something that's still got to be done. If you draw a unique character, you've got to create some unique shapes, and it's all right just doing frontal, but if you're doing quarter and half views as well, then you have to draw for those things as well. But again, that's something I can perhaps show you later on. And if not, I have a Creative Live course on Character Animator. Some of the stuff has been updated since then, but yeah, on Creative Live, I did it in 2018, live from San Francisco. As Goldbeard the Pirate. Yes.
I love it.
And I'll show you Goldbeard in a minute.
All the voices that your characters have. Like,
they've all got their own. Right, so I'm going to tap generate right now. And so what that's going to do is you remember I said that it loaded a Photoshop file in the background. Yeah. What it's doing right now is it's discarding the things that aren't necessary. Yeah. So all the things that I didn't choose in there have now been discarded, and my puppet is here ready to go. You can see I can groove a little bit just there. Okay. And it should, I don't know why that's not reading my microphone. Let me just calibrate away from there. Super good. But for some reason, microphone input not working. Audio level too low. Too low? Me? Too low? I need to just check. What I'm going to do is just check the audio hardware just here. That will be because something's disabled. So I am going to choose. Yeah.
While you're doing that, I'll let everybody know about the streams that we've got coming up, because obviously it's Wednesday today. So we're doing Monday, Tuesday, Wednesdays now. And on Monday, Sophia and Joe Allen are here talking about 2022 photography goals. So that's going to be great. I've seen some of Sophia's work recently, and she's so amazing. And Joe, of course, is amazing. What would Joe do is always our hashtag that we have for whenever Joe does a stream. It's amazing. On Tuesday, we've got Raquel back to cover some illustration. And then on Wednesday next week, Tony is back again with our very own Tanya. And you'll be covering, you're making creative flyers on Wednesday next week, right?
Yes.
It's going to be good. I'll definitely dial in for that. And get your characters.
Hi. How are you?
This voice is really bizarre.
It's so good to see you here. Hey, Maddy. I've been looking forward to speaking to you all week. So excited to finally be here.
I don't even know where to begin with that accent.
Really? I'm just cycling through them.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my, that's me kicked out of Lambda. But anyway, moving on.
Oh, this is so good. Everyone in the chat's like, lol, laugh out loud. I mean, honestly, this is what happens though. Like, you can imagine us me and Tony sat in an office trying to make characters for whatever work we were doing in the office. And this is what you're seeing right now is exactly how we work together.
It is.
This is it, isn't it, Tony? This is what happens.
This is how it goes. It is, honestly. Oh man. Anyway, there you go. So technically, if you wanted to create one of those puppets, right, just back on the program for a minute. If you wanted to create one of those puppets, right, you can see how easy that is using the puppet maker.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You can create as many as you need. This, you can see down at the bottom here in the timeline. Okay, this is the layer called Mo. Just here. You can rename the puppet if you want to. Okay, we'll just have a look at the sort of workspace now here inside of Character Animator. But there is the puppet that we've created. We've got this controls panel here, which is a nice handy way to remember what the controls do. Yeah, you don't have to have a piece of paper stuck to the side of your screen or whatever that tell you, you know, press this to trigger that. They're all there for you. And of course, you can engage them by clicking on them. Also click on them to turn them off. These particular ones, you click on them to turn them off again. So you've got that above that just there. Then we've got the project itself above. So these are all of the things that are in our project just here. So here's the scene that we have. So of course, actors can't work without a scene. So you have to have a scene, at least one to work in, but of course, probably more, because all of your action doesn't take place in the same thing. Then here's our puppet. Okay, so this is Mo just here. You can see it has a small icon just the side of it. It looks like a little Cluedo character thing just here, but a little icon there. Okay, and then we've got the project assets just here, so different bits, and that structure is mirrored pretty much on the machine. By default, by the way, these are saved to your documents folder into a special folder called Adobe, and then into a folder called Character Animator, although you can save them wherever you want to. So those are all the different things we've got. There's our little welcome bit just there, and the scene we're currently working in. Now, if I wanted to produce something quickly, okay, to put out as a demonstration, which of course, because we're here on Adobe Live, I do, then all I need to worry about at the minute is this area just here. Okay, so the transport controls. We'll get to the stuff on the right-hand side in just a little while. So I'm just going to do a quick. I'm not going to give it any grandiose by calling it a performance, but I'm just going to do a quick record here so you can see how this works. So first of all, in the camera and microphone area, I am checking, all right, that my camera is enabled, okay, and that my microphone is enabled. Those things are important. I know they are anyway, but it's worth mentioning that for people who are doing this for the first time. Check those things are on. Then we've got the record button just here. My playhead or my CTI, okay, is at the beginning of the timeline or wherever that needs to be in case you're recording something further on. And that layer or that item inside of the timeline is active. You can see the difference. It's not active. When I click on it, it's active. That's important because you might have a stack of several characters in here, okay, that you want to interact with each other. And of course, you would just enable the ones that you want to work with at the time. So I'm going to go ahead for a record just here. So if I go ahead and click on record, then I'll just do a quick performance. Hi, and welcome to this Adobe Live with Character Animator. Yay! And stop. Okay. You can see a few things have now happened just here. It's recorded some audio. Okay. It's also recorded my camera input just here, my face input, and my lip sync input from the side here. And there's a whole bunch of different things. I'm going to zoom in just here for you so you can see that it's mapped to these Visines. Okay, so we're going to run that back. I'll just get hold of the playhead here. Hi, and welcome. See how that's working? I'll take that right the way back to the beginning and we'll play that. Hi, and welcome to this Adobe Live with Character Animator. Yay! See that? Simple. Brilliant. Okay, I'm just going to take that back to the beginning.
Do you know, it's so funny, Tony. Yeah. I'm now watching your character, not you. So as you're speaking, it's so funny.
Mads, A, the character's better looking. B, it's the focus of the stream. I mean, this character is so much more interesting to look at than me. But there you are. So we've got that just there. Okay, so that's working. Now, for those things to be recorded, they needed to be armed to record. Now, that is automatic, but you might want to record other things, okay? Now, such as some arm movements, for example. And so you can record again, but this time you can not record the things that you had before. So I don't want to record anything else from my voice. Okay, I don't really want to record anything else from my camera. So I'm just turning that off. And then down in the properties area here, this is where all the detail work goes on. Now, these red dots, okay, mean that they are armed for recording. Okay, so they will respond to whatever input, okay, is mapped to them. So the body, of course, is tracking my side to side and up and down motion, okay, with the camera input. I'm going to just disarm that. I don't want that to be armed for this particular one. The dragger, that relates here to the hands. Okay, the eye gaze is something else that's coming from the camera. So I'm just going to disarm that. I'm going to disarm the face just for the moment. Okay, limb IK, that's inverse kinematics. That's how things join together, like the finger bone connected to the hand bone connected to the wrist bone connected to la la la, and so on and so on. Okay, that sort of thing. Physics are things that are built in, okay, so that it will respond in a more real world kind of way, such as, you know, it won't be jerky motion. You'll get a bit of easing going on between those things. Okay, and transform is just what it is. So change its position on the screen, okay, or its scale, all of those other things. I've got triggers active just here as well. Now I might use those in combination with hand movement, okay, just that, and I'll just leave everything else as it is. So I've wound that back to the beginning, and so what I want to do this time is I'm going to record again, okay, but I'm going to move the hands around just a little bit as well. Now let me just see if I can turn on wrong one. Let me just go back out of that, and I want to turn on rats. Okay, I wanted to turn touch back on, can't remember. It's one of my wing buttons. Do you know what? I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. So I'm just going to record. Hi, and welcome to this Adobe Live with Character Animator. Yay! Okay, let's wind that back. And you can see that if I play that, so I'm just going to tap the space bar here. Hi, and welcome to this Adobe Live. That the performance is coming together, right? I'm just adding in the bits as I go. Yeah, and so it will all work together. So I'm just going to wind that back to the beginning. This time I'm going to work on the left arm. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Tony. I was just saying I didn't realize that you could do this in bits, because before I was trying to do everything at once, like, because I was clicking on both hands and dragging them around and trying to speak, and but this is,
it's wind it backwards and just work on the performance. Because if you're trying, you know, if you are doing the whole thing yourself, right, if you're doing the voice performance and the body performance and all of that stuff, that's a big ask. That is a lot of spinning plates, you know, when those people spin those things on rods. It was very stressful. The voice performance will suffer the most.
Yes, that is true.
From doing that, you know. So when you are doing a voice performance, you should do it, you know, you record your voice all the time, right? So you know that, but
yeah, you
should focus on just doing that in the right environment and get your mouth working properly, all of that stuff. You'll make sure that all of the articulations in your face are working properly, like whether the feather thief favors further, and all of that kind of stuff a few times, vocal warm-ups, then give your voice performance, and then record that separately and bring it in, because that's something else you can do from here. We'll do that shortly as well.
Reverb Mike says, I would just ask Siri to do it. Good option.
Who knows if that could be a Siri skill at some point in the future? Dun dun dun. Who knows? Yeah. Or some other personal assistants. That's such a misnomer. Other personal assistants are available, but hey ho. Right, so I'm going to record again just here. So recording once more. Hi, and welcome to this Adobe Live with Character Animator. Yay! There we are. Okay, so if I wind that back, I should have both. Hi, and welcome to this Adobe Live with Character Animator. Yay! There you go.
I love this. It's so good, isn't it, though? Like,
yeah.
What a good technique of doing this all separately. I've learned a lot already today.
Makes it a lot easier. A lot easier. Now, Michelle, I haven't forgotten your question, by the way. We're circling around to that now. We kind of got to do things in order. So let me just go back to the kit on the side here. And of course, when you want to output something, you've got the share icon at the top here. So you can click to share and you can see how you can then output this in the way that you want to do it. Right. So you might want to output your puppet to save it as a puppet file to share with other people. Right. You can see here I've got some live options, but you can send it out to media encoder. Okay. Send it out as a ping sequence. Okay. And you can do an Adobe Dynamic link into Premiere as well. So if you want to do a performance that links up with something in Premiere, you can do that too. Crazy good. Crazy good. Right, taking our attention away from the right hand side of the screen and the center of the screen now and back over to the left, we're going to go up to the project panel at the top here. Okay, and we're going to click on the puppet. Now, I don't know if Tim can just change the overlay just for a second, just to move us down to the bottom right, if that's at all possible. If not, I can just move Character Animator around just a little bit. In fact, here you go. I'll bring that down just to make it, he does it just as I do that. Thank you, Tim. You're a diamond. Okay, so now we can see the project panel at the top here. I have clicked on the puppet. Now, you notice that when I do that, okay, an icon appears at the bottom. Okay, here. So we've got these icons. So add to a new scene. Okay, create a new folder, because you might want to organize things inside of there however you want. You're totally at liberty to do that. Okay, and then we've got edit in Photoshop. Now, all of the template based puppets from the puppet maker, at the moment, they are only Photoshop puppets. You can create puppets in Illustrator as well, but not from the template maker. You have to build Illustrator ones on your own, or use one of the pre-existing puppets from the very beginning, such as Chloe. Chloe is an Illustrator puppet, I believe, or actually you've got a choice. Chloe's Photoshop and Illustrator. You can choose whether you have a Illustrator or Photoshop version of that. But I'm going to click to edit in Photoshop, okay, and it opens up the puppet like so. Okay, so this one's got a whole scene with it. So it's got the backgrounds just here, like so. It's got some guides, it's got some other stuff. And if I twirl open the puppet, I'm actually going to bring my layers panel out a second and make that bigger, so you can see all of this stuff, because this is the bit that is a little bit more complicated to start with. Okay, and it's the bit that if you do try building your own puppets, it's always a good idea to start with an existing one, such as this one, and then make the changes you want to make and then come back to it. Because this layer structure and the layer naming in particular, that is the bit that's really important. If you're not naming them correctly, Character Animator will try and work with you, but it's not guaranteed to work with you. Yeah, it really does need this structure. So you'll see at the top here, the very topmost, okay, is a layer group, and it's called Plus Puppet, like so. Now you might notice, I'm hoping that screen zooming will work just here. Let's have a look. Are you seeing a zoomed in version of my screen now?
Not zoomed in.
Not zoomed in. Okay, I won't screen zoom.
And Sean has a quick question for you, actually, Tony.
Yeah.
Is the background layered? So if you wanted to move the moon, for example, in the background, is it layered?
This one isn't at the moment, but there's nothing to stop you putting layers in with that on. So you could always, if you wanted to separate this out onto different things, you absolutely could. It's not worried about that. Doesn't worry about those things at all. At the minute, just to make it nice and easy for people to work with, it's just a single flat image. But if you wanted to disassemble something like this or create your own with layers in it, absolutely. Okay, and you can make other things move. There's a whole bunch of different things. I mean, this is a big, super cool product that you can do so many good things with. But you could, for example, have potentially all sorts of stuff going on in the background. You could also have a separate movie going on in the background. You can just bring out the performance onto transparency and then bring it into After Effects and then merge it with a background, although you can have some of that natively inside of it's up to you how you do it.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Sandrine says I can really see this for explainer videos.
It's used like a lot,
e-learning, isn't it? It's like e-learning. You can see this on a learning program to get stuck into something. Completely agree. Yes.
So Adobe actually do that themselves. Adobe do have some learning content that is made in a couple of product areas with Character Animator. And I think you've frozen again, haven't you, Mads? It's always the best poses as well. I think Mads is going to go up and beat that the BT engineer up later on. But anyway, moving on. Right, so here is that layer architecture, right? So we've got these folders here. We've got this one has got something called torso just there for the body section, just there. And there are reasons for that because of the t-shirt and all of that stuff. So I brought in Watermelon Guy just here. Now, if I go ahead and get my move tool, okay, and move that around, you can see that is easy to do like so. If I maybe wanted to change that Watermelon Guy, do something different to it, like, I don't know, make it goldy or something, or draw something completely different to add on to it, all I need to do is add another layer. Okay, I can do that. And I think what I'll do is I'm going to fill this layer with that color and clip it. I can't remember off the top of my head. There you go. So it's sort of a gold color right now. I'm going to change the blending mode in here as well. If you watched Tim's session the other day, you'll know exactly what I'm doing is what Tim said, just cycling through the layers until I get something that fits properly. There's Mad's favorite, hard mix, doesn't do a lot with this one. Okay, but it's linear dodge is what I'm actually after just here, I think, or maybe lighter color. There we go. So something like that. I'm going to save that. Okay. So it's just going to tell me that it's going to do nested layer groups, la la la, in CS6. Who even uses that? The at work. The right. So let's go back and let's have a look. And the puppet should update. There you go. So you can see my movement in there. That layer's had no effect on the function of the puppet at all. Okay. Now, if you change names around on existing layers, that can. Yeah. So if you start thinking, oh, I want to call this something else, that can sometimes do it. So just be careful of that. But there you are. That was quick to update like so. And very easy to do. And I could do anything else I wanted to do here to change. So you'll notice this is also in a group, by the way, called plus frontal, because some characters have more than just a front on view that you can change. And here's Mads back again. Hi, Mads.
Oh my goodness. Oh, the Wi-Fi. Oh, what did I miss, Tony?
I just blinged up. So what I've done is I've opened up this character in Photoshop, and all I did here was add a new layer and blended it down, clipped it and blended it down onto the Watermelon Guy to turn it into sort of a gold thingy just here. That's what I did, and then showed how by saving that, okay, I could go back into Character Animator and it's updated. So I could do whatever I need to do in here. In fact, let's do something else. So we've got the jacket just here. I'm going to turn that off and on again, right? You can see how that's inside of a group called Suit, Jacket and Tie. Groups are something that Character Animator really likes. And apart from the fact organization, they're good. Layer naming, though, is the key. Yeah. Any of the things with a plus in front of them means that Character Animator will in some way affect them. Yeah. So those bits are kind of important for you to have. If I wanted to do something here, like, I don't know, change the color of this one. So I'm just going to choose another color just here. I'm going to add a new layer above that one. Okay, and then fill that with color. And I think what I'll do is just clip that down onto the middle of the jacket layer. There we go. Okay, and of course I could replicate that for some of the other layers as well, bring those into that nest, but I'm going to get rid of it in a second. I'll just save that and let me tell that to don't show again. Okay, let's go back in here. And it's just bringing in those edits. There you go.
And Tony, I've got a question for you.
Yeah.
So obviously there are lots of personalization options in Character Animator so that you can, edit these as well. But let's say there isn't a hairstyle that matches the character that you want to build. Let's say I'm making a character of someone I know. And I wanted to make the hair more curly and more bouncy. Then how would I go about doing that edit in Photoshop? Would I select the hair layer?
Yeah, so you'd find the bit you want. Let me just get rid of that thing with the jacket just there. That's kind of interesting that appears to be it's working on the dots just there. There was a blending operation going there. I'm going to get rid of that anyway. That's by the by. Right, I'm going to go into the head group just here. So frontal into the head group just there, and then we've got hair front. Okay, so let's just have a quick look at what we have in there. Not a lot in those particular layers just at the moment, it seems. But you would basically get to wherever the content was that you needed to change, and then just change it. Yeah, so there's a few different things in here. Let me just turn off eyewear. That's just to make sure that's working. And that hair front layer is not doing a lot.
There's not a lot of hair, is there?
There is not a lot. Well, that's true. It's because it's on hair back. Right. Okay. So hair back is the thing. That's another thing. If you wanted to add more realistic motion of physics, so your hair, for example, can flop around as you move your hair like that. Yeah. And you can attach sort of a dangle behavior to that. So, and it would move in relation to the figure. So again, adding to the character believability. So here's hairstyle 10. Okay, that's on that particular layer. So essentially, Madge, you would go to that layer and then change it. Yeah, so you'd modify whatever you wanted to change. So if I go to that, I'm active on that layer.
Yeah.
I'm just going to get a brush. I'm going to sample that color. And then I'm going to add, I didn't sample the color properly, but hey ho, I'm going to just add some bits in here. Yeah.
Mike would like to know, can you do the same thing in Illustrator, or is it just Photoshop? I think it's just Photoshop.
No, same. You can do the same thing in Illustrator.
Perfect. Mike
absolutely,
also adds, hair today, gone tomorrow.
Do you know the puns?
do you know we did? Do you remember when Comic Relief was all about hair a few years ago?
Yeah.
When I say a few years ago, it was actually 20 years ago. And when we were doing the CBBC stuff, I had to play Hairy Belly instead of Halle Berry. And so we did a mixtape, and it was called Hair Today, Gone Tomorrow. And it was all, it was hilarious.
You weren't at Shepherd's Bush for the Spice Girls one, were you?
No, not Spice Girls.
No.
No. But yeah, we did.
So that. I was a consultant to Comic Relief at the time. And and I went to the one I went to was with the Spice Girls. In fact, me and my mate Adam nicked off with some of their rider food.
I love that. That's what you remember as the highlight of that time. That's like, amazing. Hey, Stuart does have a question about the topic that we were on today. You and I always go. We it's funny, isn't it? So Stuart says, so could you create a smart object that would apply to every element of the character, like side view, like from different angles? You could.
You could. Can't remember about smart object support. Just trying to think. I think it just gets dealt with as a regular layer. I actually can't remember that.
We edit by layer.
Yeah, I right, okay. If we get a chance, I'll grab a look at that in a minute. Also, I've got a few other things to run through first, so we'll do that. I can't remember. Well, do you know what? There's one way to find out. Right, there's one way to find out. What I'm going to do is convert that to a smart object and save it. Okay, and then come along and go back into Character Animator, and if it displays, it's all good.
I just
Yeah,
think
it's
it's
fine.
so easy to change the layers. Like I wanted to do the the edits to the hair. It's so easy. You just did it in like a second. So
Yep.
brilliant. Just click on the
So
layer
that's
and draw directly onto it with the brush.
absolutely. So
Easy.
I just need to rearm my things here for it to start doing things with it. There you go. So I just a very, very simple change on my hairstyle, Mads. Do you like what I've done with my hair?
Very cool. Very you.
I think so. I think so. I'm sort of from the Dr. Robotnik school of hairstyles, I think. Do you know who that is from Sonic?
Yes. Yeah.
But,
amazing.
Yeah.
Very
So you can
cool.
see it's really easy. Now, let's go back and create let's go back to we'll close this particular project just for the minute. Okay, so let's make sure we can. The great thing about saving in Character Animator, by the way, is that it's automatic. Yeah. And if you keep saving, right, so it's saying saved as already as version 1 in the history panel. If you keep doing it, it used to give you really sarcastic comments like, yeah, you've saved it already. Yeah, you don't need to save in Character Animator. You just saved it a minute ago. You don't need to. Just carry on with these little overlays. They've obviously gone these days. But anyway, right, let's see if I can now close. It's very odd that I can't close that. That's unusual. It might be for a whole bunch of different reasons. But anyway, let's just go ahead and go back to the home screen just here and go for one of these puppets. Let's try Finn, actually. Here's Finn.
Cute. This one is cute. Hey, Michelle says, this is great. Maybe please see more streams on Character Animator. Michelle, I'm with you. I love this, honestly.
Oh, yeah.
I
agree.
I'd happily do more. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Very cool. You're really enjoying this one, Tony.
Oh, yeah. They're all good. They're all good. So this again, this was something that was very, very easy to turn into something more than just the one puppet, because by creating a color overlay in Photoshop, I managed to change and blend modes, which you were learning about yesterday, I think.
Monday.
Tim. Monday, sorry. Oh, that's right. Yeah, yesterday it was Natalie. But yeah, on Monday, by doing that, I managed to create 2 fish really quickly for a customer demo, and had these 2 fish chatting between each other by activating the different layers and giving each one a different voice.
And do you know how to make your voice sound like it's underwater?
No.
You have to get your finger between your lips. So you got to say.
Oh, right. Sorry, I thought you meant how to thicken the sound. Was that me being like?
How to make.
This is like this underwater now. You know, I can see that. In a sort of talking to your kids way. Yeah. Sorry, I see what you mean. I see what you did there for me, Mads. But anyway, get a puppet that kind of meets your needs, and go ahead and look at it. Look at the actual puppet. So if we open this one up in Photoshop, right, again, you can see this is a somewhat simpler structure. Okay, just here. There's a thing here, plus bubble particle. It's got that plus in front of it, which means that Character Animator can do something with it. And what that's actually doing is it's creating an emitter. Okay, so it's emitting these bubbles. Okay, and then these bubbles have certain behaviors. So if we go back to Character Animator, just here, okay, and we go to we need to go into the rig area. So rigging is where we set the puppet up. Now we're going to be coming back to this imminently with a new character, in a minute. Okay, so we'll be coming back in here anyway. But here's the layer structure from Photoshop, spelt out for us in the left. So this is the puppet area here. This is where we see all the things, and here we've got the origin. So that's where Character Animator knows how to place it and also how to relate other things to it. It's got to have an origin just there. And then there's a few things here. So we've got a trigger here, okay, for puffer, okay, just to puff this Whoops a daisy, just to puff this up a little bit. So, forget you can't see zooming, can you, on here? I was going to go zooming into this area here. So Z is for the puffer, and then we've got a B for blink. So if we want to force a blink, let's go back into the record just here, and let's go ahead and go. I'm really scared.
Wow. Amazing.
Tap B.
And if the bubble's a smart object, Sean would like to know, can you change, it's a smart object, so can you change the bubble into something else?
Yeah.
Cool.
You can change whatever you want.
Fabulous.
Absolutely change whatever you want. Yep, you can. You
And
definitely can.
Oliver would like this fish as a pet. I agree, Oliver. It's very cute.
So I've tapped on the bubble particle just here, and there's so much to this, right? We have like an hour and a half to get people up, curious, starting to make stuff themselves, and then deep diving into it. Watch this Creative Live course by Tony Hartman. Some of that's out of date, to be perfectly honest, but it's still worth watch. You can see these things here. These crown things mean that there's some sort of behavior attached to them, right? It will do something, right? And here I've got then these three things, right? So the handles, they're things that allow you to drag things around. Again, you'll see this in a minute. Puppet has behaviors, okay, and assign triggers. That's the thing where you can press a key to do something else. So the behavior here, these are some of the behaviors, okay, that it has that you can use. Breathe is a really good one, and that's something else that aids character believability. You can set the number of breaths per cycle in there. I think it's a minute per minute.
Wow.
And the character will be distorted slightly, okay, so that it gives the impression it's breathing. And that's something else.
Wow.
I had that in the Batman character that you saw, where the Batman's chest was rising slightly and growing and shrinking and falling.
Attention to detail in this is just outstanding, isn't it? It's
crazy.
So good.
Yeah. So there's a whole web page on this in the Character Animator Help, which tells you what all of these different behaviors do, okay, and how to work with them. Particles is what's going on just here, so it's emitting particles. Now I should, if I am able to go to that, I should see the behaviors in here somewhere. There we go, particles. Okay, so this is the particle mode. It's a cannon, it's firing stuff out. Okay, you've got snow, point and shoot, and track mouse. So there's a thing. If you're moving the mouse around, you can get particles that will do things. Imagine if you were waving a fairy wand, and you wanted some pixie dust coming off of the wand. You could create the pixie dust, so you could create an animation that supports that. I'll talk to you about that shortly as well. Okay, and then have that coming along. Great stuff, really, really good. So here I've got the number of particles per second. So for the direction that they're going in, the velocity, the spread. Okay, and these are all things that you can play with. You're not going to hurt with them. Stapler accident finger is there to help as well. So you can click and drag across any of those things. You get stapler accident finger. I know that was when I first met Tim, that was Tim's favorite thing that I said, stapler accident finger. Just there, so it reminds me of where our friendship started. The okay, and the fade opacity and all of these different things that are working. And so now, when it actually starts rolling, right? In fact, if I do a bit of a play just here, I didn't record anything actually, but you watch the emitter.
Oh yeah.
Can you see that? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to stop that. Okay, I want to just make sure that my workspace is set up properly. I'll do that in a sec actually. Let's go back to rigging just here, and we'll come back down to that behavior. So I'm going to change the direction here, okay, and I'm going to make that almost at the sort of 3 o'clock position. Let's go back into record. Now you won't be noticing that much going on here. Okay, to start off with, can you see the direction they're coming out at? Yeah, and moving up at. So
oh, very cool.
It's cool, right?
This is just so cool. I love it.
Yeah, all of these different things. There are so many animated episodic programs that are made in this now. So many. You can do things like walk cycles. There's even a way of generating a walk cycle from a profile character. So that's the whole that thing. And you've got several different components at play there, because as we walk, we rise and fall. So there's all of that stuff.
Oh, it's so good. We should do a challenge on this, you know. I know that we're not kicking off any challenges or anything that we've got planned at the moment for Character Animator, but this should definitely be one of the creative challenges that we do to see everybody create some characters, because this is
can always compete for the attention of the Character Animator team. And if you on OK Samurai, you'll see that Dave features Character Animator projects that he likes that have been submitted to the community. So if you want to get a bit of Character Animator glory, you can.
I'm going to have a go on this, because there's some things that I wanted to do, because I was going to do it in fresco, and I was thinking of drawing and animating something in fresco. But actually, I've realized now I can just draw on each layer in Photoshop and actually just start off with a character that's already existing because of all these new updates that I haven't seen. So it might be quicker for me to do this in Photoshop instead of fresco. So there we go. This is good.
Give it a go. Right. So let's have a look then at creating a puppet from scratch. I'm going to show you a couple of. Now, unfortunately, I couldn't get the original puppets. I got my drawn puppets from here. So I'm just going to pop back. I'll just drop that back into place just there, just for the minute. I did find out a couple of puppets, or the drawn elements here. So this is yours truly.
This is you at Max.
It's me at Max, Max 2019. This. So it was me. Monster Max. Exactly, yeah, it was, from that one. So this was my Dr. Grafenstein character. Of course, people who've watched the live stream here for ages and have watched at Halloween are familiar with Dr. Grafenstein. He does amazing things. That time. So, but this was a performance where I was singing. Unfortunately, I can't play that because it's rights managed. Which is a shame. But here is that puppet. So it's plus Grafenstein. That's the thing you need to do, first of all, to tell Character Animator. That's at the very top level. That's like the parent group. Everything there fits inside of that group. Now, this isn't a finished puppet because not everything is targeted in here the way it should be. But in the mouth here, I've done all of these different Visines. You can see that if I turn some of these things off. So if I just turn off the neutral expression just here, and then just turn and smile. And these were just the Visine shapes from Red Monster that I used and just attached a mustache to them.
Oh, see, that's good. Mine were awful when I tried to draw these. These are really, very good. Yeah. So
that was that particular one. So Dr. Grafenstein just there. Then Goldbeard from my Character Animator class on Creative Live.
Oh,
this one here, that has there's the left arm. This is just the drawing stage of creating that puppet. It's not the actual puppet. So I tend to do mine in stages. I do a drawn stage, and then I do, and then I build the actual thing itself. So here, got the eyebrow, so left eyebrow and right eyebrow. So those will be tracked, and mine aren't hard to track after all. On there. The nose above, you can see that the nose here is attached to the mustache, right? Because the mustache doesn't move with Goldbeard when Goldbeard is speaking. And then the mouth, these are drawn Visines on here. So you can see that if I go to, actually, those ones aren't in on that one yet, but okay. But they're all drawn because Goldbeard has this gold tooth down at the bottom here and a gap just up there. So they all had to be drawn.
So if we were to draw these now, we'd draw them, hand draw them in fresco, layer by layer of each individual thing, right? Obviously name each layer, importantly, and then open in Photoshop. Yeah. And then we're able to see all of these. So you can see the flow.
Just bring it in.
Of how you do it. Brilliant.
And then just bring it to life. And then there's some things here with the left eye, right? So if we just focus on the left eye for the moment, there's my left eyelid. So this one has a top and a bottom eyelid and the tracking that Character Animator has for these is brilliant, right? If I wanted to give someone the sly eye and sort of go, that, by having a top and bottom eyelid, Character Animator can actually make that happen for you. Yeah. If you just do one simple eyelid for a blink, that's all you're going to get. But if you actually have a top and bottom eyelid as we do.
That's a good tip there, Tony. That's
Then
really,
you can use it, yeah.
Really good.
And then there's a blink just here, so that's what it looks like when Goldbeard blinks. At the moment, he's winking at you. Har, Maddy, har.
Tony, why are pirates called pirates? Because they are.
Oh man, I feel like I should know that. Oh.
My jokes are awful, but I love them.
Why is the pirate alphabet only got 3 letters in it?
I don't know.
Because they always get lost at sea.
Very good. That's good though.
Right, enough. Anyway, and you could say that's the basic build of that. Now, actually, I should have. It's very hard to find these things in the archive, but this one actually has. So if you watch the course on Creative Live, you can actually see how I approach this bit isn't out of date because it's current for every puppet you ever draw. I show how I approach creating a frontal and then also creating a three quarter and a profile drawing from the same artwork to do it, so that, and it gives you some tips. Basically, they involve guides. So you bring in guides, so you know that's the bottom of the eye line, you know that's the bottom of the nose line, yeah, or the top lip. You go whichever way you want to go with that, and the bottom of the chin and beard, and so on. And it's just an aid to drawing, and then you just lay them out, draw them, and then you have to disassemble it and bring it in. But some things are portable, and of course, because it's Photoshop, if you want to do something from the quarter view like that, like typically you're only seeing one eye just there, you can actually get away sometimes with scrunching up an existing eye set that you've got, similar for the Visines. You can scrunch them, you can use warp on them to warp them across, making your workflow a bit easier if time is the constraint. Of course, if you're working in production quality and value is the constraint, and that, you know, it takes as long as it takes to get it done.
And once you've made this in Photoshop, then, because Jackie asked this question, once you've edited this, how do you move into Character Animator? Do you go directly to Photoshop? Or perfect, there you go. I'm
going to show you that after this glug.
Nice. And Tim had a really good joke about what's a pirate's favorite letter, and then I asked Tim, I said, is it R? And he said, you'd think that, but their first love was always the C. I do love the jokes in this.
So good. So good. Puntastic. Right, I'll close up Goldbeard. I don't need to save Goldbeard, and I don't need to save Dr. Grafenstein either. So here's the... here's a very, very simple puppet that I thought we could perhaps have some fun with.
You know how much I love dolphins, Tony.
I know how much you love dolphins.
Oh,
so I thought I'd make this very simple puppet that I'm going to bring into Character Animator and do a very quick bit of work with. I've just realised what time it is.
Luckily, we've only got 7 minutes left.
Quickly. Right, so let's get back into, well, we're going to need 10 minutes, so that's going to be, we'll be fine. I'm going to create a new project just here. That's fine. Character Animator project. If you want to find out for creating the background, typically it's at 1080p. Okay, but if you do want to find that out, okay, you can find that out really easy by using the project panel, click on the scene, okay, and then do that. I'm going to bring in a puppet here. So if I go for a new empty puppet, in fact, no, I could actually, let me just do that a different way. What I'm going to do is just file import, okay, and I will go to the folder.
So importing the Photoshop file now.
Yes.
You've got a new puppet and then add the Photoshop file.
I've also got this handy sound effect.
I can't believe you've made a puppet for me.
So I've got Dolphin 22 just here. If I drag Dolphin 22 into the scene down at the bottom here, you'll see the dolphin already.
Amazing.
So that's working just by the virtue of having the layers done just on here. That's working already. Let's go into the rig area just here. Now, I don't need to worry too much about the mouth, but all I'm going to do is
Very
I've got a neutral, which is the closed mouth. For the R, just underneath it, that's when the mouth is open. I'm going to actually map it to more than one Visine, because I don't need all of the complex array of vowels for this and other Visines for this dolphin shape. I'm just going to map it to all of those just for the minute. So basically this one will just have its mouth open or closed. Really simple. I'm going to go ahead and go to the eye just here. Now I've got a blink layer for that. If I just show you, there is a blink layer which is going to be specified as being a blink just there. So I've clicked that. You can see the tags in the right hand side. It's basically text. This is a visual way of doing this with text. So it just tags that layer as being a blink. I'm going to go to the head layer just here, okay, or the head layer group. All right, it's recognized that that's a head by virtue of the name. I'm going to come down to these behaviors and turn on auto blink. Okay, so that's now been added to that. So we go back to record. Okay, that should start blinking. Can you see that?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just blinking. I can change the blink amount if I want to. I can go into the controls to that, so I can change the number of blinks per minute, slow that down or whatever if I want to. And you can see it's tracking me like that. Now, I thought I'd also very quickly add a couple of things here. So I'm going to go ahead and add something to the right arm. So I've got that here. Down at the bottom, I've got different pins that I can add. I'm going to add a handle. Okay, so I'm going to come along and add a handle just here. Now, when I do that, I have an origin, which I'm going to drag up towards the shoulder. And then I'm going to tag this, okay, as being the right wrist. Oops, sorry, wrong one. Let me just undo that. I need to make the right thing active, not the origin. So I'll go for this one just here and make that the right wrist. Now, if I go back into there, I don't think I've told it to be draggable. So I'm just going to go ahead, and with that still selected, I could click here. Can change other things as well to add to that if I wanted to. Oops, a daisy, working too quickly. Let me just come down here and add a draggable tag to it. Okay. Cool. So now if I go into record, right, you should see that I'm able to drag.
Oh, wow.
Let's do the same thing for.
This is a very cute dolphin, Tony.
Left arm. Thank you very much. I'm going to go ahead and add another thing here. I'm just going to move the origin up to the shoulder just there and go back to my tags and make that draggable, and also tag it as being the left wrist.
Oh no.
So let's go back.
Asked, is it possible to add props to the puppet?
It is possible. Now I've actually got, that's a really good question, Tim. You're getting 100 extra points.
You two have been working together. I know it. Oh gosh.
You're going to get 100 extra points, Tim. Yes, and actually I do have a props layer just here. I have this Kex prop layer, which I'm going to add a trigger to that. So I'm going to go ahead and add a trigger. Okay, so I'll create a trigger. Then if I come across to the panel here, I've got Kex. So K would perhaps be a good letter for Kex. There, I think. So let's go back to record. So we're playing away. So let's go K for Kex. Oh, there we go. We found something in the water. Okay. Just here. So no, no, but I think I've got another one, because if I'd have had time for the dolphin to talk, you can just think yourself lucky that I haven't. I'm going to add another one here. So create a trigger. This one is going to be M. Okay, there we go. So now I've got that trigger. Okay, I'm going to go ahead now. And so let's pretend this dolphin is talking to you, Mads. So it's chatting away to you and going, yeah, I found these. But do you know what? They make a really good mask. Let's stay safe.
Oh, my goodness. So, I imagine by now you can tell. I didn't have a very good experience swimming with dolphins, and let's just say they moved me through the water too fast, and I lost them. Something in the water. This is absolutely hilarious.
I think really we should just kind of play this. Really.
I can't believe that you two have conspired and you've made this.
I should have recorded the performance there with the actual Kex. But...
You are so funny. I can't even believe. I need to share this with all of my friends that were there with me when this happened because. Because it's so funny. It's so. I need to dig out the photos. It's so funny. Oh my god!
Well,
I can't believe you've done this.
I mean, I think there's, you know, there's going to be an inbound Instagram story later on. So I wouldn't worry too much.
You're gonna share everything now. Oh my gosh, you are so funny. I mean, Tony and Tim, both of you in this together. You're so funny. Sandrine says, "Are the photos safe for work?" Do you know? No, because there was a photo bridge where there was an official photographer where the dolphins were meant to swim us through the water, and they pushed me so fast that I lost, and they wouldn't let me buy the photos because they said they were too indecent. So my friends, I mean, they were all in laughter, extreme laughter. They took some photos, so I have some. Oh, it's so funny. Oh my! I'm
just going to how many minutes? Oh well, we're actually at time really. But what I could do if I wanted to, what would have been, you know, because sometimes you run away with things, you get carried away with stuff, and you run completely out of time. Or sometimes everything goes like tickety, and people manage to stay connected for the whole time. You know, crazy stuff like that. It's just and I thought what we could do is we could do, you know, one of those underwater viewing things that you do for like in a zoo, you know, or a dolphin area. Not that dolphin area are a good thing anyway, but you know, one of those things where you can see underwater. And all I was going to do, you don't need to panic, Mads. This isn't a panic like situation. You don't need I was just going to very quickly go ahead here and create a new 1080p file. Right, just so you can see it. No, honestly, I'm not joking with you. It's not. I'm not. There's no more tricks up my sleeve. That was the only trick I had. Okay. This was really just by means of demonstration here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to save this, okay, as blue, just there, because that's what it is. And then I'll go back into Character Animator. So I can once again, so Command-I, Control-I on Windows to import blue PSD, just there. You can see the things that it can bring in here as well. And import. And by the way, Goldbeard, you might have noticed he had a hook on his hand. Yeah. In the course on Creative Live, I show how Goldbeard's real love is not actually piracy, it's cookery. And you can see how I used a swap set to change that over to cooking utensils such as a mixer and so on. So you can check that out. I'm going to go ahead and drag blue in. Now you can see that it does matter where it goes in the layer structure, but there's blue just there. Then in the properties on the side, one of the ones I have, okay, is opacity. And so I could make it so that was kind of, you know, sort of not really the right blue for this, but you get the idea, right? That so now that's underwater. If I make the puppet active again, it's a bit more like it's swimming. And if I put something with some lines in, so you kind of got the idea of a water texture, you can see that, but you can still let go. But they make a great mask.
You're so funny. I just can't even. You just think, and you and Tim, Tim's like setting it up in the chat, like honestly. Amazing. Oh my gosh. Well, we are at time and it has been fun today. You've made me cry again. I mean, I did think wearing waterproof mascara would be a good idea for our first stream of 2022. I was right. I definitely thought this about before I joined any more calls today. It's been great with Character Animator. I've seen a lot of chat in there, you know, people requesting more sessions on this. So I think this could be a topic that we can add to some more streams. So, you know, we'll let you know.
It'd be nice to do a 3-day one, I think, where we built out a little episode or something. Would be really good.
And get everyone else involved as well, you know, and get, you know, us all practicing these skills because it's changed so much over, especially, you know, this year with Max last Max, of course. So everybody, really great to be with you all again. And Tony, amazing as always. The next stream, of course, is on Monday with Sophia and Joe. So we'll see you then. But have a great one, and I'll see you all soon. Bye, everybody.